Cardano ADA has made some big moves to the upside, and we have seen the price of ADA breach past the upper trend line within this contracting triangle that I've been keeping an eye on over the last few days. Now, I've talked about previously how ADA is at a crossroad and it can either head in a bullish direction within this WXY setup and ADA reaching anywhere between 81 cents and 84 cents, or it could head in a bearish direction where I'm looking at this contracting triangle and ADA potentially reaching anywhere between 64 cents and 66 cents. Now, given ADA's recent moves, we have seen some impulsive moves, in particular over here. And so if I quickly head on down to the 5-minute chart, what you can see is some 5-wave moves. So for example, over here, you have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And same goes for over here, where we have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I remove this and go back to the hourly chart, this contracting triangle that I've been keeping an eye on is now invalid. Reason being, because of ADA's recent moves to the upside, this E wave is no longer the shortest wave, and so in Elliott Wave Theory, the E wave within a contracting triangle has to be the shortest wave, and so this E wave is actually bigger than this C wave, which makes this structure invalid. And so we aren't bearish, and it looks like ADA is actually heading to the upside where we could potentially reach this zone here. And so what we can do now is remove this and try and dissect what's taking place over here. And it looks like a potential WXY structure is forming, where we have a W wave, X wave, and a Y wave. So what we can do now is target out this Y wave, which would typically be a 1 to 1.236 retracement of this W wave. And so if I bring this to the right place, what you can see is this Y wave would reach anywhere between 76.66 cents and 78.54 cents. So anywhere within this region here. And as things stand at the moment, the current price of ADA falls short of this target, and there is still more room to the upside, as indicated by Smart Money Concept, which is indicating that we have a weak high. And one thing to note is the stochastic RSI is indicating that we are within the overbought conditions, and so we could continue to see moves to the downside like we are now. Now, what is interesting about this also is the Y wave target falls short of our bigger wave Y target. And so two scenarios could be in play right now, both of which are bullish. And so what we could be seeing right now is, rather than having a WXY structure, we could have a 5-wave move like so, where the 5th wave ends up falling within this range here. Or we could have a bigger WXY structure forming, where we have a W wave, X wave, and a Y wave. And within this W wave, what we have is a WXY wave forming. And of course, it's not yet complete. Well, technically it's complete because we've reached the minimum targets, which is 0.618. However, ideally, I'd like to see ADA reach this zone here before we see moves to the downside. Now, should we see a retracement to the downside, then ideally, I'd like to see ADA find support where the fair value gap is, which coincidentally is where the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA lie. And of course, this is something that I'm going to be tracking over the course of the week, and I'll be keeping you guys updated. Now, in addition to that, the 4-hour chart and the daily chart tells an interesting story, given that on the stochastic RSI, it's indicating that we are within the overbought conditions. And you can see the same on the daily chart also, we are within the overbought conditions. Now, the 4-hour chart, you can see that the 50 EMA lies at 72 cents. And you can see that the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA also lies at 72 cents. And so the 4-hour chart, given that the stochastic RSI is indicating that we are within the overbought conditions, if we do see a retracement to the downside, then again, ideally, I'd like to see ADA find support at the 50 EMA and then continue to see a bounce to the upside, where we then reach this zone here. Now, what's also interesting to note is that Smart Money Concept is indicating that we have a weak high at 77 cents. And so if we do see ADA push through towards this region here, then ideally I'd like to see ADA push through that 77 cent mark, which would make us ultra bullish. And so, yeah, as things stand at the moment, short term, mid term, and long term, we are looking healthy. And obviously that's good to see. Now, you do have the 50 EMA, which is at 77 cents. And yeah, I think that 77 cent mark is where this week high is also. And so that would also be bullish if ADA was to retest that 50 EMA. And so, yeah, that's just my quick update on Cardano ADA. As things stand at the moment, we are looking bullish short-term, mid-term, and long-term. And the contracting triangle that I was keeping an eye on has been invalidated given ADA's recent moves to the upside. And it looks like the WX Y structure that I talked about previously is in play, and I'm targeting this range here where our fair value gap is. And so, obviously, I'll be keeping you guys updated. So hopefully you found this video useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.